Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the first edition of Twitter Takes. And today we're going to talk about how Dan Gilbert and David Griffin parted ways together in Cleveland. So, David Griffin is a really good executive, one of the best executives in the league. And what happened was Dan Gilbert had this policy where after one contract term, I'm going to let my GM go. Apparently, no matter what. And that's certainly what it looks like right now. So let's get right to it. So, Dan Gilbert bought the team in 2005. His first executive was Danny Ferry. And they built playoff teams, went to the finals, had some deep playoff runs. But apparently, he didn't like Danny Ferry, and he let him go, probably due to contract disputes, some chemistry problems, probably just like this right now. So then, Chris Grant, he didn't work out. LeBron left. You put him with a bad team, and I could understand that one, but really Chris Grant was in a bad situation. And now, David Griffin, all right? He goes to the finals 3 years in a row. 3 years in a row. That has not been done many times in NBA history. Wins a championship. When was the last Cleveland executive to win a championship? And then he gets LeBron back, the same guy who left Cleveland 4 years earlier. Okay? David Griffin has been one of the better executives in the league. And Dan Gilbert wanted to let him go since he couldn't pay him $3 million. So, what David Griffin has done is his relationship with LeBron James has not been perfect. Not perfect. But it's been good. It's been good. LeBron likes David Griffin, and so does the rest of the team. And so now, what happened is David Griffin left, and that makes it now harder for LeBron James to stay. So let's get to some of the main points. David Griffin has made some very good moves. He has acquired J.R. Smith, Amon Shumpert, Channing Frye, Darren Williams. They have all worked well for the Cavs. And the only team they lost to was the Warriors. And David Griffin is the only executive who has beaten the Warriors in a playoff series, who has figured out how to do that, how to construct the right team. Fired David Blatt, hired Coach Tyronn Lue. And another turning point was Tyronn Lue got extended even though he coached for half a year, but he won a championship. David Griffin did not. And there's reports of him being extended. It never happened. This is shocking. Dan Gilbert has made a big mistake. So, anyways, Dan Gilbert, who owns Quicken Loans, has made billions of dollars, one of the richest men in America, one of the richest men in the world, is in the billionaire club, owns one of the largest companies in the world, bought the Cavaliers in 2005, and he cannot pay Dan Gilbert $3 million. A billionaire, one of the richest men in the world, will not pay him $3 million. Why? I don't know why. Apparently, he wants to run the team, and he does not agree with David Griffin. And he just made it easier for LeBron James to leave. And LeBron James is the reason why Dan Gilbert has made hundreds of millions of dollars of owning the Cavs, has had sold-out crowds. People bought all these LeBron jerseys, LeBron t-shirts, LeBron hats, Cavs hats, all the type of merchandise you can imagine. Anything from a LeBron $200 jersey to a Cavaliers stuffed animal. All those Cavs merchandise. TV ratings go up in Cleveland. They're way up on Fox Sports Ohio. Thanks to LeBron James. You want to count? 2007 Eastern Conference champions. 2015 Eastern Conference champions. Through 17. 2016 NBA championship. Dan Gilbert has a championship ring. All due to the talent of LeBron James. That's the only reason why Dan Gilbert is successful. LeBron James and David Griffin have made Dan Gilbert look much better. And when LeBron leaves next offseason, Dan Gilbert is not going to look as good. And that decision was due to his personal beliefs that I can't extend an executive. And you know what? Other executives who come in, whether that's Chauncey Billups, who I've rumored could be getting a 5-year contract. Maybe in 5 years, when his contract's up, he'll be thinking, you know what? I'm out of here. Or maybe it will change. But right now, if you let Danny Ferry go, okay, maybe that was surprising at the time. Then you let Chris Grant go. Well, maybe that's not so surprising. But when you let David Griffin go, someone who has led you to 3 straight championships, the 3 straight finals appearances, something must be wrong. And I don't know what Dan Gilbert's doing. I have no idea. And you talk about Dan Gilbert doing the letter to LeBron James, how fans hated LeBron every time he came back. And then you're able to talk him into coming back. And then he comes back for 4 years. And then if he leaves again, attendance is going to go way down. Kyrie Irving may decide, you know what? I'm leaving as well. And with those decisions made by Dan Gilbert on Monday, 4 days ago, will affect them in 4 months from now. Will affect them in 4 years from now. May affect them in 40 years from now, even if Dan Gilbert's still the owner. And here's the thing. Dan Gilbert can own this team for the rest of his life. He has authority to this team until he dies. And front office executives may not want to come here knowing his passive handling front office executives. Even if it's a great executive, it's going to be hard to win in Cleveland now. Firing David Griffin, or not firing him, he did not fire him, but he let him go. He let him go for no reason other than that a billionaire could not afford to pay him $3 million, or was too cheap to anyways. And his relationship with executives is going to hurt them long term. And that's going to be a problem for being the Cavs. Maybe being them so poorly run, maybe the Cavs head towards bankruptcy. And the league takes ownership. And that's how Dan Gilbert is forced to sell the team. So the question is, does LeBron leave? And who knows how bad they'll be after LeBron and Kyrie leave. Just who knows how long this could go on for. It could go on for years and years. They could become the Sacramento Kings, the Philadelphia 76ers, but even worse. That's how bad they could become. Stay bad for years and years. And who knows, eventually, Quicken Loans is an aging arena in Cleveland. The Cavs don't look very good. So all of Dan Gilbert's success is due to LeBron James. That ring he gets to have, those banners up there, all the money he made, he owes it all to LeBron James. Since without him, he would not have all these playoff appearances, would not make all this extra money due to playoff sellouts, due to these playoff t-shirts, NBA Champions t-shirts, Eastern Conference Championship t-shirts, so much extra merchandise, all these LeBron James All-Star jerseys that were bought, all this extra stuff contributed to LeBron. And if you take out LeBron, ratings go down. Who's the most popular player on the team? For a couple of years, he might have Kyrie Irving. But then when he leaves, who is it? I have no idea. Who was the most popular jersey sale for the Cavs in the 2010-11 season? I have no idea. Who was it for 3 years? Probably Kyrie Irving. But before LeBron, I have no idea. And this franchise success is due to LeBron James. And when LeBron James leaves, all that success is going to go away. And Dan Gilbert will have the reputation as one of the worst owners in the NBA. Maybe before we thought he was a good owner, but that was completely a terrible decision. I mean, who would let the best executive go? You know what this reminds me of? Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones. So the Cowboys won 2 Super Bowls. But somehow the relationship with Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson was not very good. So you know what happened? Jimmy Johnson left and resigned. Of course, this is owner-coach, not owner-executive. Since Jerry Jones wanted to take all of the credit. And that's what happened. The relationship got worse. So in a final sentence, here's what I have to say towards Dan Gilbert. Dan Gilbert's decision jeopardized the future of the Cavs. And here's why. It's going to make it more likely for LeBron James to leave. Since he does not have Dan Gilbert, he has to start over with a new executive. And he decides to leave knowing that the future of this team is not very good. And when LeBron leaves, Kyrie may be bad, stuck, may not want to play 1 year on this not very good team. And then he decides to leave. And the Cavs have no future. They don't have any picks since they gave them up back then which doesn't really matter then, but it could very soon come back to haunt them when LeBron James leaves and when Kyrie Irving leaves. And all of a sudden, this franchise has no future due to Dan Gilbert's decision making. No executive will trust him. And the Cavs, in 5 years from now, may be one of the worst franchises in the league. Most unappealing, worst teams, worst attendance. Dan Gilbert will lose hundreds of millions of dollars due to this decision. It may happen. We'll see what happens. But that's what I think will happen. And thank you for listening.